townhouse. That is what we were told by numerous different resources. Including the place we're at right now. The shelter that we're in right now also said that. Starting about a week or two ago, we get a letter that says, June 30th, this shelter will be closing down. Then we get another letter that says, July 8th will be the shelter's last day. Then one of the staff verbalizes that the shelter's last day will be July 25th. So the staff that I work with, shout out to Jessica and Shay, I don't know the rest of their names. It used to be Aaron and Noelle. Noelle was the daytime supervisor, and Aaron was the representative from Equitable Solutions who would go back and forth from the city to the shelter staff and like city standards. But I've done everything to advocate for myself, and I've taken what Jessica and Shay say. The supposed manager now is Cornelius, who's new. He just got there about like a month ago, and he told me Jessica and Shay said definitely the 8th, and not to listen to anyone else, like to just listen to them. So I'm like, okay, well, what's going to happen after that? I'm breastfeeding my son Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I pump breast milk the rest of the days. Put it in a refrigerator that we it's our personal little refrigerator. It's like a mini fridge that one of the staff members who's no longer there, shout out to Stax, gave us. So Stax is gone. She left, didn't even say bye, which was heartbreaking. I guess she just didn't know that she was gonna leave. But she was like awesome. She was such a good advocate and she helped us out a lot. She gave us that mini fridge to keep forever. So it's fantastic because most shelters, they don't accommodate you with a small fridge. We had to literally keep the breast milk in a cooler on ice cubes. And we were spending about $120 a month on ice cubes alone just to keep the breast milk cold. And this is a priority for me because it's something that I did for all three of my children. All three of my children were, breastfed until they were 6 months old. I supplemented with formula when I needed to, and I wanted for Weston, especially since I don't have a full-time job right now, I want Weston to be breastfed until he's 1 year old, especially because there have been several week periods where they have not been feeding him the breast milk, despite the fact that I am his mother and that is my right. So I'm doing my best to stay focused, but here's the problem. I have breast milk that I'm producing. I have to keep it in a refrigerator for it to be usable. It lasts 4 days from the day it was pumped. So I carry it in this refrigerated Trader Joe's bag. I bring it to him on Wednesdays. Friday and Saturday's pumps, I either take a bath in them. It's good for the skin. It makes your skin softer. But not only that, it is DNA created, genetically created for me. And I deserve that, to be honest. So in addition to that, it has a tremendous other health benefits. Your chances of getting breast cancer are virtually eliminated if you breastfeed. I've done it now 4 times. So as for your children, your children get those antibodies that eliminate these certain types of cancers, and it gives you immunity to tons of other stuff. So I want to keep going with that. It's very important. On top of that, some other considerations that Xavier and I have is that we are in court fighting for custody of our son. Being that we have to do all of these services through the court, we have to have together a stable place to live to bring our son home. So Aaron, the previous representative from the city of Chicago, he was meeting with the city and telling them what was going on, and they were like, no problem. We will ensure a seamless transfer from either this shelter to another couple shelter or another family shelter, and then ultimately to a shelter, to an apartment or townhome. And that was supposed to happen within 6 months of the time that we entered this shelter. We entered this shelter after 2 weeks in the temporary shelter, Shield of Hope, and we're now in the 6-month shelter, and it's only been a little under 4 months, and they're saying that we're going to have to go to a different shelter. So today, following my visit with my son, so put this into perspective, please try to see things from where I'm at. I have to communicate with all of the people like a drug program. I have a task supervisor. I've never had an addiction in my life, but I have to drop like urine and pass drug tests regularly whenever they say. It's unscheduled, but like randomly. I have to meet with these people on a regular basis. I have to attend 2 hours of group therapy every week about drug abuse and substance abuse, which again, I've never had in my life. There has never been a substance that I could not say, no, I'm good on that. If I ever used something, mine is for pot. They're literally, and so is Xavier's. We both got referred to drug therapy for pot. But whatever, no big deal. I'm complying. I'm doing whatever they ask. I'm trying to not let the tremendous amount of responsibility and energy draining interaction burn me out, because I have nothing left at the end of the day, guys. Nothing. Like, I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is text all my children, look at my calendar, see what I've got for the day, see what they've got for the day, text my mother, see how she's doing. My father and I speak in the evenings primarily, or sometimes the afternoons. If I like have some sort of like life altering, like bad news that's like got me crying, I'll call him for comfort like throughout the day. But I try to keep up with him 2 or 3 times a week. My children is every day, multiple times a day. So my eyes open at like 5, 6, 7 a.m., depending on what I have that day. First thing I do is text the caseworker for DCFS saying we're on our way or we're not on our way, my children, and my mom. And it's just, it's a lot, just that. Just keeping up with the task worker, the caseworker for my son, my 3 big children, and, everything else that's going on in the housing situation. It's exhausting. Then you add in the fact that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm going back and forth to the suburbs to visit my son, the baby, and the 2nd and 8th of every month, I'm sending food to the big kids, to my 3 big kids, and all of those things, not to mention my own personal needs. So, with regards to my housing, we have to race back, because that promise that this was the last stop before our apartment or townhouse was clearly not, able to be kept for whatever reason. I'm sure they have a good reason. I don't know what it is, but we have to now race back there today to meet with the city representative about the next steps. And we have this small fridge. We have my clothing. I have the baby's stroller, the baby's car seat, and I pump every 4 to 6 hours. If I notice my supply is running low, I increase the amount of pumping, and as long as I am producing the right amount of milk, I can push it to 5 or 6 hours, but that can't be consistent, sometimes 4 hours, sometimes 5. And then I feed the baby, like breastfeed the baby on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But if I stop pumping throughout the week, my milk will dry up, so I won't be able to breastfeed him. So it's like there's so much going on, and I have to like stay on top of everything. On top of that, I'm using LinkedIn, Indeed, because they're integrated, and direct applications to send my resume. I have my resume posted on my Instagram. I have my resume posted on here. I have my resume posted on my YouTube channel, which is GoPro Solo if you guys are looking for it. I go live in all of those places, and I have 5 Instagram accounts since 2020. That several of them have been locked, hacked, and then someone changed the password. I think because they don't want me to be able to keep adding. They want the information from that time in my life to be readily available. But I have no proof of that. So I just keep on creating new Instas. I keep growing them, like they're growing. Now I just had this Instagram open the day after Easter, and it's at 6,000 followers, I believe, or 5,000 followers. And then I have GoPro Solo Production, which is at 6,000 or a little over 6,000 followers. My very first Instagram is at 60,000 followers, and I haven't worked on it since 2018. My second Instagram, One Heather GEE, is at 17.2 thousand followers. So I keep on growing followers and getting brand deals or like sponsorship assistance or donations. Or like, I've worked with a protein company before. I've worked with Amazon Influencer before. I've worked with Cash App before. Lots of work with Cash App. Every single time I send people to Cash App, they continue to like. What did he say? they continue to like increase my amount that I get when people sign up. So I stay using Cash App and I stay using all of these services. But that's like all going on simultaneously while they're like uprooting us and giving us no clear direction or communication about what's going to take place. We're on year 5. We're on year 5. You know, when he came home and I was forced because I wasn't really given the opportunity to say no. I said no, and like they weren't like, okay, you know. He was like, you have to do this for me to come home. They were trying to give him a 12-year sentence, and they decreased the sentence to 3.5 years as part of like all the stuff that he had to do. So I felt truly obligated to do it, and because I had a 60,000 person following for the genre niche of business I was doing, I felt like this cannot harm me. Have you ever heard of that saying, no negative publicity? There's no such thing as negative publicity. Such thing as negative publicity. Like I truly such thing as negative publicity. Like I truly felt like what I love, which is creating content and being a mom and using makeup and dressing cute. Like, who wouldn't want that, you know, deal? So I really was excited, and it has just been such an uphill battle, you guys. Such an uphill battle. So I'm trying to now, as we approach the station to where we're going, I'm trying to now compartmentalize all of that that's going on so that in this visit with my 4-month-old, I can breastfeed him calmly, I can be present, I can be mindful. But you know, if you've ever been a part of the system, it doesn't work like, oh, I just check out. They ask those questions, they have things to say. Like, it's not just you walk in there and then you're calm. You know, I'm dealing with a worker. Several of my visits have been canceled and I have to reschedule them. So there's just business associated with every one of these interactions that makes compartmentalizing and being calm with it like incredibly difficult, you know, if not impossible. But I'm still, you know, doing the best that I can with regards to that. And my son doesn't deserve this. I don't deserve this. My children don't deserve this in any way, shape, or form. My child deserves his mother, me, you know, to be there for him every single day. And I'm not, you know, refusing to show up. I'm fighting to show up, you know, with everything I've got. And that's every day for all of my children. And there are 4 of them. So, and for Xavier, you know, Xavier has been really used and just kind of thrown aside in a lot of different ways by various people. So I'm trying to keep it together for both of us. And the truth of the matter is, when I like get one of those notifications like, oh, we're going to be transferring you to a different shelter. Like, oh, we're going to be transferring you to a different shelter. Like, oh, we're going to be transferring you to a different shelter. I'm expecting that a different shelter. I'm expecting that I'm who pay the bills. You know, they are doing their best to help us, but whether they mean to or not, and for the sake of my own mental health, I have to tell myself that they're doing their best. I'm sure there are some of them that know for a fact that, you know, something is or isn't the way it is, but they say something misleading. But I can't drive myself crazy thinking about that. I have to assume that these people giving us all this information are doing so to the best of their ability, you know, and that they have a genuine desire to help people. You know, that's the way I have to see things. So that's what I'm doing. And I'll update you guys later, you know, about what happens at this meeting with the city. Some lady came to our door yesterday and knocked on the door and she was like, do you guys want to go today? The van will come today. I'm like, no. She's like, so you're not willing to go? I'm like, I'm willing to go if they're asking us to leave today to the next place, but I need to know, what the plan is. Where are we going? What time are they going to be here, et cetera, and so forth. And she goes, it's the olive branch. And I said, the olive branch doesn't accept us. We came here from the olive branch. The olive branch makes people throw away all of their belongings. They wanted me to throw away a brand new stroller and car seat that we had just bought for Weston. They wanted me to throw away all my clothes and shoes. They wanted me to keep a backpack and a duffel bag. They were even giving us a hard time about putting the breast milk I had with us in the fridge. They're not going to let us in there, pumping breast milk and putting it in anywhere. Like, it's just not a good place, So if we're at a place that is able to satisfy all of our needs, which none of our needs are, anything, what's the word I'm looking for? High maintenance. It's not high maintenance to have a mini fridge and, that's it, a safe place to sleep. That's not high maintenance. I don't know what you guys are used to out of life, but I've worked really, really hard my entire life so that having access to some place to store my child's breast milk, that's not asking too much, and that's not just my opinion. That's the reality. We live in a world of so much abundance, and so many people have so much. There are mansions, there are, 5, 10, 20, 30. I saw a $60 million home listed on $1 million listing the other day. If we have, with a gun range in it and like all this stuff, if we have $60 million properties on market, we can most definitely find a way to serve the most underserved communities with a bathroom, a safe bed, and, a place for their belongings to be kept. And if we're truly going at this from the perspective of creating solutions rather than, bullying or complaining, then the solutions are to get these displaced people into a home, into a safe place, and then let them take it from there if they can. And if they cannot, assign them a caseworker who's gonna say every week, hey, have you applied? Yes, ma'am, I have. This is who I've applied to. Great, awesome. And as that caseworker begins to notice that people need additional monitoring and resources or less, they kind of adjust their, monitoring according to need. That is what we do in a solutions-based society. In a society that is focused on creating solutions rather than bitching and complaining about how, well, I should just quit my job and go live in a homeless shelter. Really, Susan? You want to go live in a homeless shelter, Susan? I don't think you do. I don't think you do. You should see the food. I don't think you do. You want to live under a curfew, Susan? You want to have only a couple of items that you're allowed to have. You want to be separated from your friends and family. You want to be not allowed to have visitors. You want to be not permitted to have your friends come over and check on you. You want to be scared to even have a fucking package delivered. No, you do not, Susan. You do not want to be homeless, and you should not quit your job. So having these, providing these things, these basic minimum accommodations to people who need them is life-changing for everybody in a way that's positive and impactful. Leaving people out on the street to suffer does not help anyone at all. So with that being said, good talk, you guys. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate your support. They did the same things with my Cash App that they did a while ago. I don't really know why or how to fix it. What it feels like for anyone who's technologically inclined, who's listening, what it feels like is they may or may not be running a cloned version of Cash App through my phone. The customer service that Cash App usually has is not at all the same. I'm noticing a lot of inconsistencies with communication. Not only that, but Cash App is and always has been an app that does not require ID verification for use. All you need to use the app is a simple sign-up registration. It takes less than 2 minutes. So I don't know if Cash App has drastically changed their terms of use,
which could be the case, but even if they did, I've never met an app that has worse customer service 4 years later than they did when they first opened. You know, when they first open, the bots that they use are usually very primitive in nature. They don't have all the exact questions. As an app ages, the questions that people will have and the problems that they will encounter become more familiar and predictable. And so those questions are able to be answered, you know, with, as I said, predictability. And when you're working with a live agent and a bot that's utilizing AI function, the questions that I've been asking, it sounds like there's a child on the other end, you know? The AI would most certainly be giving me a more complete answer. In addition to that, Cash App supposedly recently started allowing notes. They call them notes. And when you send a money request, in the memo line, you're allowed to say what it's for. Well, I created a brand new Cash App account. And as I said, this is how my sponsors, as I call them, and the people who donate to me, this is how they have been supporting me through all of this nonsense. This is how they've been paying my phone bill, how they've been buying me shampoo, conditioner, clothing, etc. Oh, speaking of which, you guys, I got a 4-pack of leggings on Amazon for $22. They're beautiful. I love them. So soft, so nice. If you want the link, just send me a DM. But anyways, in the memo line for Cash App, they're saying nasty words. Words that most apps, if you think of how they rate movies, like PG-13, R, G, you know, whatever the ratings are, most apps are running like PG. Anything more than PG, AI will filter out most of the time. Most apps, Cash App included. They have got this version of my Cash App running on NC-17, okay? Or maybe even X. The things that these haters are saying in my memo line are absolutely obscene. And I'm reporting it to Cash App support, and I'm screenshotting it to death, and I'm sending them all of this, you know, information, and they're straight up just like, oh, well, what do you mean? The fuck do you mean? What do I mean? Anyone will know what I mean because AI knows what I mean. Humans are definitely going to understand if I say, look at this explicit, you know, harmful and offensive content that's being sent to me. Any human or even some entry-level AIs, most AIs are going to know what words are explicit and the context for them. Look at ChatGPT. You know, you could say some sort of elementary statement and receive a whole entire paragraph that sounds like you have an Ivy League education now from ChatGPT. So we know the technology exists, you know? So that's why my best guess is that they're running some sort of clone software right now on my phone. I don't even know if this TikTok is getting out, you know, or if this is a mirage itself. But I'm letting you guys know that that's taking place for the record. Other than that, you know, it's just my family, my sister, my mom, my dad, my grandma. I call her my Gigi. The kids call her Gigi for great grandma. I haven't been able to sit down at a holiday dinner with them since 2020. I'm hurting. My entire life has been predicated on the family structure and the stability that it provides, whether we were quarreling or fighting or not getting along. We never missed a holiday. We always put our differences aside to catch up on holidays and be there to support each other on those special days, birthdays, holidays, etc. Obviously, the perfect family dynamic is that we have each other every day, 24/7. If one of us needs something, the other one picks up the slack. But not everyone is as privileged to have that. So I was very grateful for what I had with my family, but I also felt like I needed more. I would cry a lot. You know, I would be like, man, I just want to go back to my mom's. I miss my mom. I want to go home. When I was, you know, 23, 25, I craved that, you know, that connection to my family. And I thought that just being able to be there on holidays and birthdays was not enough. Well, in 2020, I was put to the ultimate test because Even though I have, minimal telephone communication with them, I have not been able to sit down at the table for a family dinner with my mom and my grandma, my dad and my stepfather, my brother, my sister. I have a brother who doesn't even know me as an adult. He's just aging into his adult years now. He's in his freshman year of college, and I haven't been able to sit down since 2019, 2020. He was a freshman. He was a teenager. He was a middle schooler. So was my daughter. The last time I was able to go, spend time with my whole family. So it hurts, you guys, a lot. It hurts a lot, and I'm doing my best to compartmentalize that as well. It's really tough going through all of these issues and situations when I'm business minded, I'm business savvy, I'm a good communicator. I'm, for the most part, as I said, incredibly honest and kind. You don't have to challenge me, just like any other human being. If you abuse me enough, I will show you a different side of me. But for the most part, I try to always stay true to those qualities in myself: respectful, manners, things like that. So it's tough, and we're doing our best, Xavier and I. You guys know I was not looking for a relationship when I met Xavier 2 years ago. When I met him, he told me that his brother worked for the district attorney's office and that they were on board to assist us with everything that was going on, and all of the police reports that I had made and times that I had been robbed and the issue with my vehicle and the time that I was bludgeoned over the back of my head and the time that I was jumped and stabbed 11 times by 3 women with screwdrivers. And I had never experienced any victimizations in my life like that. I had never been violently assaulted in my life ever prior to 2019. So we still have no answers to any of that stuff, you guys. None of that stuff has been answered for. And ironically, rather than me being subpoenaed to court to be a witness as the victim in all of those cases where people are serving time, the man who bludgeoned me and beat me up was supposedly sentenced to 18 months only. I had to have staples in the back of my head. I couldn't even work for several days. I was covered in bruises from my head to my toes. He punched me, he stomped on my body, and he took a tire iron out of the backseat of my car while I was at the car wash washing my vehicle and began just bludgeoning me over the head repeatedly. Some truck drivers interfered, someone called the police, and they caught the guy at the scene. I wasn't even called by the court system to testify, about that case. So it's very curious to me, and I explained this yesterday in a really nice way that I'd like to repeat. My problem is not with the police because I think there's something deeper. I'm 37 years old. If I had ever been, robbed or harmed in any way prior to 2020, I would call the police and the police would be there. So what about 2020 to now has changed that? And that's where I'm at. I'm looking for solutions. I'm looking with logic and practicality for solutions and an explanation that makes sense. But I still don't have one. And as I said, how ironic it is that now I'm in court defending myself, against all these allegations. And I said this before a lot of times, and I'll say this again. The DCFS system, they investigate everything. So all you have to do is call and say, say you don't like someone. You call and say, oh, so-and-so did this. They will literally go over there and get in your child's business. They will meet them at school. They will come to your home. And it's happened to so many. And the most crazy part of it all is that there are bloggers who have been talking about this in an effort to expose this system. And they are being filtered from mainstream internet. You have to have some sort of special, either direct HTML access. So the algorithms are not working to circulate truthfulness that they feel may fearmonger. As a matter of fact, a lot of it is getting marked as spam or scams when it's not, when it's actually truthfulness. So I hope that all my tech friends can help us out. And, I do have a desire to get back into tech and start learning about these things because please, you guys, don't let them silence the truth. When these things are happening to us, you know, we need to find solutions together. And you know, like I said, when you don't know, you just don't know. And someone could be a school teacher hearing things like this, and this could change the course of their career and the way that they handle situations. So I'm just saying, please don't allow the internet to become a completely one-sided, biased database. You know, let it be really what it is, and let us as humans, with the assistance and guidance of artificial intelligence, or the other way around, create solutions. You know, let us move forward in a way that creates solutions to these problems, because we're far past the time in evolution where we can simply say, well, we don't know. You know, we do know nowadays. We definitely know. You know, and if we don't know, we can most certainly find out. If the only reason or the only thing preventing us from finding out is money or resources, we have an abundance of those in this world, do we not? We have detectives, we have FBI, we have investigators, we have private detectives, we have moles, we have informants, we have all of this investigative, you know, intelligence. If we don't know, we can most certainly find out. So let's start finding out, but then once we find out, like, let's fix it. I'll keep you guys posted with what's going on over the next few days. Like I said, my primary concern right now, as it always has been, is to remain as calm, stable, and balanced for my children's benefit as possible in my communications with them, to be as honest and truthful and provide the most reliable information about my situation that exists, despite some pretty big emotions and fears. You know, the homeless thing, I was sexually assaulted while we were homeless. I was robbed multiple times while we were homeless. I was bludgeoned while I was living in my car. My fears are not irrational. They stem from situations that have already taken place that I pray to God I never have to experience again. I pray to God no one ever has to experience them again, but specifically that I do not, and that my family does not. So you guys have a great day. And if there's anything that you could do to financially contribute, please help me out. Have a good day.